The text message wasn't meant for me, but I saw it anyway. 2:17 in the morning, and my wife's phone lit up the darkness like a secret trying to claw its way into the light. I wasn't snooping. Not yet. I'd just gotten up to use the bathroom, half asleep, when that blue glow caught my eye on Megan's nightstand. Can't wait to see you again. 2 more weeks. This time, no interruptions. The sender's name made my stomach drop. Zach. I stood there in my boxers and undershirt, staring at those words until they burned themselves into my brain. Megan slept soundly beside me, her breathing steady and peaceful. She had no idea I'd seen it. She had no idea that in those few seconds, our 12-year marriage had just shifted on its axis. I'm Martin Hayes, and I'm not the kind of man who jumps to conclusions. I work in IT consulting, which means I deal in facts, data, and evidence. I don't do drama, I don't do impulse. But standing there in the dark, reading that message, something cold and calculating settled into my chest where my heart used to be. I didn't wake her. I didn't confront her. I went back to bed and stared at the ceiling until dawn. The next morning felt surreal. Megan made coffee like she always did, humming some pop song while she scrolled through her phone. She wore her blue robe, the one I'd bought her for Christmas 3 years ago. Her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun. She looked exactly like the woman I'd married, but now I saw her differently. Like one of those optical illusions where once you see the hidden image, you can't unsee it. "You okay?" she asked, glancing up from her phone. "You look tired." "Didn't sleep well," I said. True enough. She nodded absently and went back to whatever she was doing. Probably texting him. Probably planning whatever the hell 2 more weeks meant. I sipped my coffee and watched her. Really watched her. When had she stopped looking at me the way she looked at her phone? When had I become background noise in my own marriage? We'd been together since I was 31 and she was 28, met at a friend's barbecue. She'd made me laugh, which wasn't easy. I'd made her think, which she said she liked. We got married within a year. No kids, we'd always said we'd wait, and then waiting became the default. Maybe that was part of the problem. "I've got that video call with suppliers at 10, Megan said, pouring herself more coffee. She ran an online jewelry business from home, handmade stuff she sold on Etsy and Instagram. It did okay. Not great, but it kept her busy, or so I'd thought. "Right," I said. "I'll be in the office all day, might be late." "No problem," she said, still not really looking at me. I went to work. I sat through meetings. I debugged code. But my mind was somewhere else entirely, running calculations of a different kind. How long had this been going on? Who the hell was Zach? The name sounded vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place it. That evening, I came home to an empty house. There was a note on the counter. "Gone to Isabella's for book club. Leftovers in the fridge. Love you. Love you." 2 words that suddenly felt like a lie. I didn't heat up the leftovers. Instead, I went to our home office where Megan kept her laptop. She wasn't careful about passwords. We'd always trusted each other. Funny how trust becomes a weapon when someone decides to use it against you. Her email was open. I felt a twinge of guilt as I started searching, but it evaporated quickly when I found what I was looking for. A folder labeled travel plans that she'd apparently forgotten to delete from her inbox. Flight confirmations, hotel reservations, 2 tickets to Cancun, Mexico. Departure date, 3 weeks from now. Return, 1 week later. Names on the reservation, Megan Hayes and Zachary Bennett. Zachary Bennett. The name clicked into place. Zach. Her ex-boyfriend from college. The one she'd mentioned maybe twice in all our years together, always casually, always in the past tense. Oh, I dated this guy Zach back in school, but it didn't work out. That Zach. I sat back in the chair, my hands trembling. This wasn't some spontaneous affair. This was planned, premeditated. They'd booked tickets, reserved a hotel room, coordinated their schedules. While I'd been working 60-hour weeks to keep our comfortable life afloat, She'd been planning a romantic getaway with her college ex. The cost of the trip caught my eye, $4,200. I checked our joint savings account, the one we'd been building for a down payment on a bigger house. The withdrawal had been made 2 weeks ago. She'd told me it was for business inventory. I laughed, actually laughed, sitting there alone in the dark office. The sound came out bitter and harsh, not like my laugh at all. For the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. I monitored everything. I installed a hidden app on her phone that mirrored her messages to mine. I checked our bank accounts daily. I tracked her location. Every time she said she was meeting Isabella or going to the post office or running errands, I knew exactly where she really was. Most of the time, she was telling the truth. That was the thing. She was good at maintaining the facade. She'd go to the grocery store, come home with groceries. She'd meet Isabella for coffee, and I'd see both of them on her location. But then there were the texts with Zach, dozens of them, that painted a different picture entirely. Missing you. Can't believe we have to wait 2 more weeks. I keep thinking about that weekend at the vineyard. Best weekend of my life. Does he suspect anything? No, Martin's clueless. He's always working anyway. That one hurt more than I expected. Clueless. Was I? Maybe I had been, but not anymore. I learned that Zach was divorced, living in Phoenix, running some tech startup that had gotten venture capital funding. He and Megan had reconnected 6 months ago through Facebook. It started innocently, she told him in one message, just catching up on old times. Then they'd met for coffee when he was in town for business. Then again. Then the weekend at the vineyard she'd told me was a girls' trip with college friends. 6 months of lies, 6 months of texts and secret meetings and planning. And I'd noticed nothing until that night 2 weeks ago. The morning of their flight arrived. December 15th. A Tuesday. Megan had told me she was going to a jewelry expo in Dallas for 3 days. She'd even shown me the fake conference website she'd bookmarked, asked me to watch the house, said she'd miss me. I told her I'd miss her too. I meant it in a way. I'd miss the woman I thought she was. She left for the airport at noon. Her flight was at 3:45. I waited an hour, then called in sick to work. I'd already packed a bag, just a carry-on with essentials. I'd booked myself on the same flight a week ago, seat 23C. They were in first class, 3A and 3B. I'd be behind them watching. I know what you're thinking. Why go to Mexico? Why not just confront her at home, get a divorce, move on? But this wasn't about moving on. This was about making sure they understood exactly what they'd done. This was about control. They'd taken it from me. I was taking it back. The airport was busy with holiday travelers. I saw Megan before she saw me. She was at the first-class check-in counter, looking excited and nervous at the same time. She wore a sundress I'd never seen before, her hair down and curled. She'd dressed up for him. Zach stood beside her, tall, tan, expensive-looking in his casual blazer and designer jeans. He put his hand on the small of her back, and she leaned into him. Comfortable, familiar, like they'd done this 1,000 times. I checked in at the economy counter, got my boarding pass, and went through security. I sat at the gate across from theirs, hidden behind a newspaper, watching them. They held hands. They laughed. Megan rested her head on his shoulder while they waited to board. I felt nothing. That scared me more than the anger would have. We boarded. I watched them disappear into first class, probably already ordering champagne. I found my seat in economy, wedged between a college kid with headphones and a businessman who immediately fell asleep. The 5-hour flight gave me plenty of time to finalize my plan. Here's what they didn't know. I'd created a fake email account weeks ago, made it look like it belonged to someone from Zach's company. I'd sent messages to several of his business partners, his ex-wife, and 3 of his major investors. The messages were simple: photos of Zach and Megan together, screenshots of their texts, and a brief note suggesting they might want to know what their partner, business associate, ex-husband, was really doing with company funds on this business trip. I'd timed the emails to send automatically 30 minutes after our flight landed in Cancun. By the time they reached their hotel, Zach's entire professional and personal life would be imploding. For Megan, I'd been more creative. I'd sent her entire family and our entire friend circle a link to a private website I'd built. It looked like a travel blog, but it was really a timeline of her affair. Every text, every meeting, every lie, laid out chronologically with receipts. The link would go live via email tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., when I knew her mother would be checking her inbox with her morning coffee. But that wasn't enough. The real confrontation would happen face to face. We landed in Cancun at 7:30 p.m. local time. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and red. Megan and Zach collected their bags from first class, while I hung back with the economy passengers. I watched them walk through the terminal, arms around each other, completely oblivious. I followed them outside to the taxi line. They got into a white sedan. I took the next one and told the driver to follow that car, slipping him an extra $50. He didn't ask questions. Their hotel was exactly what I'd expected, a boutique resort on the beach, the kind with infinity pools and couples massages and privacy. Expensive, romantic, paid for with our savings. I checked into a cheap hotel 2 miles down the road. I showered. I changed. I waited until 9 p.m., when I knew they'd have checked in and settled. Then I called Megan's cell phone. She answered on the third ring, sounding breathless and happy. "Hello?" "Hey, honey," I said, keeping my voice casual. "Just wanted to make sure you landed safely in Dallas." A pause. A tiny hesitation. "Oh, yeah. Yes, we landed fine. Just got to the hotel. I'm exhausted." "I bet," I said. "How's the expo center?" It's nice. Big. Lots of vendors already setting up." "That's great," I said. "Well, don't let me keep you. Just wanted to hear your voice." "Love you," she said automatically. "Love you too," I said, and hung up. I sat on the edge of my hotel bed staring at my phone. My hands were steady. My heartbeat was normal. I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body, like I was a character in someone else's story. At midnight, I left my hotel and walked along the beach toward their resort. Security was minimal. I walked right through the grounds, past the pool, into the open-air lobby. Their room number was 314. I'd gotten it from the confirmation email. I took the stairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway was quiet, just the sound of the ocean through open windows. I stood outside their door for a full minute listening. I could hear them inside laughing. I knocked. The laughter stopped. Footsteps approached. The peephole darkened as someone looked through it. "Who is it?" Megan's voice confused. "Room service," I said, disguising my voice slightly. "We didn't order room service," Zach said from inside. "Complimentary champagne from management," I said, "for honeymoon guests." I heard them whispering. Then the door opened. Megan saw me, and the champagne flute she was holding slipped from her hand. The glass shattered on the floor, red wine splashing like a wound. Her face went white. "Martin," she whispered. Zach appeared behind her, shirtless, his expression shifting from confusion to understanding to fear in about 3 seconds. "Surprise," I said. The thing about confrontation is that people think it's about yelling, about drama, about emotion. But the most effective confrontations are quiet, controlled, cold. I stepped over the broken glass and walked into their room. They backed away from me like I was dangerous. Maybe I was. The room was everything I'd imagined. King bed with the covers already messed up, their clothes scattered on the floor, champagne on ice by the window overlooking the ocean, romance, betrayal, the same thing depending on your perspective. "How did you—" Megan started, but her voice cracked. "How did I find you?" I finished for her. "I'm in IT, Megan. I've known about this for 3 weeks. The texts, the vineyard weekend, The $4,200 from our savings account. All of it. She looked like she might be sick. Zach stepped forward, trying to salvage something. Look, man, I know this looks bad. Looks bad? I laughed. That's an interesting choice of words, Zach. Or should I call you Zachary Bennett, CEO of Bennett Tech Solutions, recently divorced, venture capital funding of $8.2 million? I watched his face change. Yeah, I did my homework. On both of you. What do you want? Zach asked, trying to sound tough but failing. What do I want? I turned to Megan. What do I want, honey? That's a great question. What does a man want when he discovers his wife of 12 years has been planning a romantic vacation with her college ex-boyfriend, when she's been lying to him for 6 months, when she stole from their savings account to fund it? Megan started crying. Martin, please, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, it just happened. Don't, I said sharply. Don't you dare say it just happened. You booked flights. You made hotel reservations. You bought a new dress. You told me you loved me while planning this. Nothing about this just happened. We can talk about this, she said desperately. At home. We can fix this. I'll end it right now. We'll go to counseling. Please, Martin. Fix it? I shook my head. There's nothing to fix. You made your choice. Both of you did. And now you get to live with the consequences. Zach's phone buzzed. Then again. Then continuously, like a swarm of angry bees. He pulled it out, his face going pale as he scrolled through his notifications. What the hell? He muttered. What did you do? What did I do? I smiled. I sent some emails to your business partners, your investors, your ex-wife who, according to your divorce decree, gets to renegotiate alimony if you're found to have been unfaithful during your marriage. And you were, weren't you? This started 6 months ago. Your divorce was finalized 4 months ago. Zach looked like he'd been punched. You son of a... Careful, I said. I'm not done yet. Megan, your phone is about to start buzzing too. See, I built a little website. It's actually quite nice. Clean design, easy to navigate. It documents your entire affair, every text message, every lie, every secret meeting. I sent the link to your mother, your sister, my parents, and about 40 of our closest friends. It goes live at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Megan collapsed onto the bed, sobbing. No, please, my mom. Martin, my mother has a heart condition. This will kill her. You should have thought about that before, I said. But here's the thing. I can stop it. The website is on a timer. I can cancel it with one phone call. She looked up, hope flickering in her red-rimmed eyes. What do you want? A divorce, I said simply. Uncontested. You get nothing, no alimony, no claims on the house or my retirement accounts. You walk away with whatever you brought into the marriage minus the $4,200 you stole, which I'll be taking from your jewelry business account. That's extortion, Zach said. No, I corrected him. Extortion is when you threaten to reveal information unless someone pays you money. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for a divorce from my cheating wife. Everything I'm planning to reveal is true. Truth isn't extortion. It's just truth. What about his investors? Megan asked, gesturing at Zach. Did you send them truth too? I sent them photos of their CEO using what appears to be company funds for a personal vacation with his girlfriend, I said. They can make their own decisions about whether that's appropriate, but yes, it's all true. Zach's phone kept buzzing. His professional life was unraveling in real time, and we could all hear it. You're destroying my life, he said. You destroyed my marriage, I replied. Seems like a fair trade to me. I turned back to Megan. So what's it going to be? Sign the divorce papers. I have them right here, actually. I pulled the folded documents from my jacket pocket. And I'll cancel the website. Your family never has to know. Our friends never have to know. You can spin whatever story you want about why we split up. Or don't sign them. And at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, everyone knows exactly who you are. That's cruel, she whispered. No, I said quietly. Cruel is what you did to me. This is just consequences. She stared at the papers in my hand. Zach's phone finally stopped buzzing, replaced by the sound of an incoming call. He looked at the screen and went even paler. "That's your lead investor," I said helpfully. "Probably wants to talk about the photos. You should answer it." He didn't answer it. He just stood there, watching his life fall apart. Megan reached for the papers with shaking hands. "Where do I sign?" The divorce papers were simple. I'd used an online legal service, made sure everything was clear and fair. Well, fair from my perspective. She'd get her jewelry business, her personal belongings, her car. I'd keep the house, the savings accounts, my retirement. We'd split the credit card debt 50-50. No alimony, no reconciliation clause. Zach tried to argue, said she needed a lawyer, that this wasn't legal. I pointed out that she could absolutely get a lawyer tomorrow after the website went live, and she explained to said lawyer why she was in Cancun with her boyfriend using money stolen from her marital savings account. She signed, right there on the hotel room desk, with a pen from the drawer, while crying so hard she could barely see the lines. I witnessed it, dated it, folded it back into my pocket. "The website?" she asked. I pulled out my phone, opened an app, and canceled the scheduled emails. Done. It'll never go live. "And his investors?" She gestured at Zach, who was now on his phone, frantically trying to do damage control. "That's between him and them," I said. "Not my problem." I walked toward the door, then stopped. There was one more thing I needed to say. "You know what the worst part is?" I asked, not turning around. "It's not the affair. It's not even the lying. It's that you thought I was clueless, that I was too busy working to notice. You underestimated me, Megan. Both of you did. You thought I'd just accept it, or never find out, or fall apart when I did. But I'm not that guy." I turned around and looked at them, Megan crying on the bed, Zach holding his phone like it was a live grenade. "I gave you 12 years, I said to Megan. "I was faithful, I was honest, I worked hard to give us a good life, and you threw it away for—" I gestured at Zach. "For this. For him. For whatever fantasy you built up in your head. I hope it was worth it." "Martin," she said, her voice breaking. "I never meant to hurt you." "Yes, you did," I said. "Maybe not consciously, but you made choices. Every text message, every secret meeting, every lie, those were choices. You chose to hurt me. You just didn't think you'd get caught." I opened the door. "Don't come back to the house," I said. "I'll have your things packed and sent to wherever you want them. You can stay with your mother or stay here or move in with him. I don't care, but don't come home." "Where will I go?" she asked desperately. "That," I said, "is no longer my problem." I left, walked down the hallway, down the stairs, through the lobby, out onto the beach. The ocean was dark and endless, the waves crashing in steady rhythm. The sky was full of stars I'd never see from our house in the city. I sat down in the sand, still wearing my jeans and jacket, and I let myself feel it. All of it. The anger, the sadness, the betrayal, the loss. I'd held it together for 3 weeks, staying cold and calculated, executing my plan. But now it was done, and the reality hit me like those waves hitting the shore. My marriage was over. 12 years, gone. The woman I'd loved, or thought I'd loved, had chosen someone else. The life we'd built was a lie. I cried. Not loud, dramatic crying, but quiet tears that mixed with the salt spray from the ocean. I let myself grieve for what I'd lost, even though part of me knew I'd lost it months ago. I just hadn't known it yet. After a while, I pulled out my phone. I had 3 missed calls from my brother and 2 from my mother. They'd been worrying about me since I'd told them I was taking a sudden trip. I sent them a text. "It's done. I'm okay. I'll call tomorrow." Then I booked a return flight. Not for tomorrow. I'd paid for the hotel room and I was going to use it. But the next day. There was no reason to rush back to an empty house. I spent the next morning on the beach, reading a book I'd downloaded months ago but never had time for. I ate lunch at a small restaurant where nobody knew me. I swam in the ocean, letting the water wash away the last 3 weeks of surveillance and planning and cold calculation. Around 3 p.m., my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Martin Hayes? A woman's voice, professional. Yes? This is Detective Isabella Morrison with Phoenix PD. I need to ask you some questions about Zachary Bennett. My stomach dropped. What about him? He's been reported missing. His business partner filed a report this morning when he didn't show up for an emergency board meeting. We found your name in his recent communications. Do you know where he is? I told her the truth, that Zach was in Cancun with my wife, that I'd confronted them last night about their affair, and that when I left, he was very much alive and dealing with calls from angry investors. Did you threaten him in any way? She asked. No, I said. I exposed his affair to his professional contacts. I didn't threaten him. There was a pause. And your wife? Soon-to-be ex-wife, I corrected. She signed divorce papers last night. She should still be at the resort. What resort? I gave her the name and address. She thanked me and hung up. I sat there, my lunch forgotten, wondering what the hell had happened. Had Zach run? Had something happened to him? Part of me felt guilty. I'd destroyed his business relationships, exposed his lies, but I hadn't made him disappear. An hour later, Detective Morrison called back. We found him, she said. And your wife. They're both fine. Mr. Bennett apparently panicked after your confrontation and convinced your wife to help him disappear for a few days while he figured out how to handle the investor situation. They'd checked into a different hotel under fake names. Sounds like something he'd do, I said. Mrs. Hayes confirmed your story about the affair and the divorce papers. She's not pressing any charges, and neither is Mr. Bennett. But I need to ask, did you do anything illegal in gathering your evidence? I'd thought about this. I accessed accounts I legally had access to. I monitored a phone that was on my family plan. I documented public meetings and behaviors. Nothing illegal. What about the emails you sent to his investors? Truthful information, sent from my own email account, I said. No threats, no lies, just facts and photos. She sighed. Well, it's a mess, but it doesn't appear you've committed any crimes. Mr. Bennett's business troubles are his own fault. I'd suggest you get yourself a good divorce lawyer when you get back, though. These things can get complicated. The divorce is already in progress, I said. She signed the papers. Under duress, she might argue. She signed them to prevent me from exposing her affair to her family, I corrected. That's not duress, that's consequences. Another pause. You're pretty calm about all this, Mr. Hayes. I've had 3 weeks to process it, Detective, I said. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. She thanked me again and hung up. I finished my lunch, paid the bill, and went back to my hotel. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from Megan. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. I know you don't want to talk to me. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, really sorry. You deserved better than what I did. I hope someday you can forgive me. I've left the house. My mom is helping me get an apartment. The divorce papers are with my lawyer. She says they're fair. I won't fight it. I hope you find someone who treats you the way you should have been treated. I'm sorry, Martin. For everything. I read it 3 times, then deleted it without responding. The next morning, I flew home. The house was exactly as I'd left it, but it felt different. Empty. Not just physically empty. Megan had taken her things quickly, it seemed, but emotionally empty. The life we'd built, the memories we'd made, they all felt like they belonged to different people now. I spent the weekend cleaning. I threw away everything that reminded me of her. Photos, gifts, even some furniture we'd bought together. I repainted the bedroom. I rearranged the living room. I was erasing her from my space, one item at a time. My mother called. My brother called. Friends called. They'd all heard, some version of the story anyway. I kept it simple. Megan had an affair, we got divorced, I was moving on. They offered sympathy, support, casseroles. I accepted the sympathy but declined everything else. I didn't want to be a project for people to fix. The divorce moved quickly. Megan's lawyer tried to fight the financial arrangements, but when I provided evidence of the stolen money and the affair, not the website I'd threatened to make, but just basic proof, she backed down. The divorce was finalized in 43 days, some kind of record. Zach's company imploded. His investors pulled out after discovering he'd misused company funds for personal expenses, including the Cancun trip. His ex-wife got a significant increase in alimony. Last I heard, he'd moved back east somewhere, trying to start over. I didn't follow it closely. He wasn't my problem anymore. Megan moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. She tried to keep her jewelry business going, but losing access to our savings account had hurt her cash flow. She eventually had to get a part-time job at a department store. I heard about it through mutual friends who'd taken sides. Most had taken mine. I didn't feel good about her struggles. But I didn't feel bad either. She'd made her choices. These were the consequences. 6 months after Cancun, I was at a coffee shop near my office when I saw her. She was with someone, a man I didn't recognize. They were laughing about something, and for a moment she looked happy. Then she saw me. We locked eyes across the coffee shop. She looked like she wanted to say something, wanted to approach me. I gave her a small nod, not friendly, not hostile, just acknowledgement, and turned back to my laptop. After a moment, I heard her voice telling her companion they should sit outside instead. I never saw her again after that. People ask me if I regret it. The revenge, the public exposure, the cold calculation of it all. They want me to say I should have just divorced her quietly, that I should have taken the high road. But here's the thing about the high road. It's cold and lonely, and nobody thanks you for taking it. What I did was calculated. It was harsh. It was designed to hurt them both in ways that mattered to them, her family and social standing, his business and reputation, and it worked. They got exactly what they deserved. But did it make me feel better? That's the question nobody asks, but everyone wonders. The truth is complicated. I don't regret exposing them. I don't regret the divorce. I don't regret protecting myself and my assets from someone who'd proven she couldn't be trusted. But the revenge itself, the satisfaction I thought I'd feel watching their lives fall apart, that never really came. Instead, what I felt was relief. Relief that I wasn't trapped in a marriage built on lies anymore. Relief that I didn't have to pretend everything was fine. Relief that I could start over, knowing exactly who I was and what I was worth. I sold the house a year later. Too many ghosts. I bought a smaller place closer to work, with a home office that got great natural light. I started taking guitar lessons, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. I traveled, Tokyo, Ireland, New Zealand, places Megan had never wanted to go. I dated, eventually. Nothing serious at first, just getting used to being myself again. Learning to trust again was harder than I expected, but I'm working on it. My brother asked me once if I'd do anything differently, knowing what I know now. I thought about it for a long time. I'd notice sooner, I finally said. I'd pay more attention. But the rest? No, I'd do exactly what I did, because they took something from me, my trust, my peace of mind, my marriage, and I took something back. Control, power, dignity. You don't get to betray someone and walk away unscathed. That's not how the world works. That's not how I work. He nodded, understanding even if he didn't fully agree. The thing is, I'm not a bitter man. I'm not angry anymore. I don't spend my time thinking about revenge or justice or what-ifs. I've moved on, really moved on, in ways I couldn't have if I'd just swallowed my pride and let them get away with it. Some people might call what I did cruel. Maybe it was. But cruelty requires intent to cause suffering for its own sake. What I did was justice. I gave them consequences for their actions. I showed them that betrayal has a price. And I'd do it again. Not because I enjoyed it, not because I'm that kind of person, but because some lines, once crossed, change everything. And when someone crosses those lines, you have two choices. You can be the victim, or you can be the person who refuses to be victimized. I chose not to be the victim. 3 years after Cancun, I'm sitting in my new house, my guitar in my lap, trying to figure out a complicated chord progression. Outside, it's snowing, the first snow of the season. Inside, I'm warm, I'm safe, and I'm alone by choice rather than by betrayal. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Amanda, a woman I've been seeing for the past 6 months. She's funny, smart, honest. We're taking it slow, but it feels right. Real. Built on truth instead of lies. Still coming over tonight? I'm making that pasta you liked. I smile and text back. Wouldn't miss it. I put down the guitar and look around my house. It's not the house I shared with Megan. It's not the life I thought I'd have. But it's mine. Built by me. For me, on my terms. No lies, no betrayal, no secrets. Just me. And a future I get to choose. And you know what? That's enough.